Climate change is no longer just a potential threat. In recent times, in 2022, the global death toll was around 2.52 million people, and the cost total about $313 billion. For every 1 degree Celsius increase in global temperature, storm surges frequency increases 2 to 7 times. That means in places like the US, about 83% of the power disruptions comes from global climate change. In India, monsoon rains causing massive floods that are now being labeled as India's most devastating hazard affect some of the most populous cities. In Dhaka, floods account for approximately 31% of Dhaka's economic losses, and more than 40% of its residents has expressed concerns to get involved with flood awareness. In China, the whole Pearl River Delta region is most vulnerable to flash flooding and storm surges, which includes Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Hong Kong.
In terms of existing initiatives, China has the Sponge City initiative started in 2015, where they invested $1 trillion into 30 cities. This was partly based on the initiative in BC for stormwater management and in Montreal. This initiative showed its fruits when the Henan 2021 floods hit, where the damage was comparable to the amount that if it was invested, they could have prevented the flooding. In Denmark, in the capital city of Copenhagen, they have 18 kilometers of tunnels where floodwater is redirected to the harbor. We can integrate our project into the end of this redirection to generate power once it jets into the harbor.
Modeled in SolidWorks, this is the final design. Using spoon-shaped buckets with jutting features, this Pelton turbine not only does a good job at capturing the kinetic energy of the flowing water, but also can redirect the water used out of the turbine. The buckets were made via a main loft that was mirrored and then shelled. A rib was then added in the middle for the splitter. One design aspect that sets our solution apart from other turbine models are the nozzles positioned around the case of the turbine. These regulate water into steady streams directly into the bucket's splitter in order to make it spin effectively to produce the power needed. The abundance of water flowing through drainage systems during a flood will create enough pressure to force the water into a fast, precise stream.
When looking for our solution, we needed to make sure that it would meet our goal of providing power to the most vulnerable populations while not sustaining damage, disrupting infrastructure, or affecting the lives of the rest of the population. We had to take into account monsoon seasons, as the sediment concentration in wastewater could potentially increase, meaning erosion of the device could become a potential issue. The solution needed to be resilient during times of heavy rainfall, while also not disrupting any of the systems during periods of drought.
Speaking of existing solutions, these are the small hydro turbines that already exist. How they're used in systems is either with the channel and a powerhouse or penstock, or just a powerhouse penstock, or they're used directly in the river or they're diverted from the river. In sewer systems, a micro turbine is used with a powerhouse. And the reason our turbine is better than this is because our turbine can be integrated into already existing sewer systems, which saves cities and countries money.
Keeping this in mind, our design went through several iterations, starting off as C-sketches, CAD models, and several tangible prototypes.
On top, with the rotation motion, we've attached magnets and loops of wire, which will create the electricity with induced electron flow using the magnetic fields from the magnets. These are connected to the turbine itself, which, when water is sprayed through this housing hole, through a nozzle, which is simulated using the dish soap and its nozzle at the end here for higher pressure water, it will turn the turbine and then rotate the magnets to induce the current in the wire above. And then below in the housing, a more detailed look at where water can enter and how it leaves the system.
Some of the key areas that we were targeting, specifically in South Asia, were lacking infrastructure for a centralized system. Navigating through these obstacles while keeping our design criteria in mind, we came up with a design that could do all that and more.
This specific design makes it so that the water harness can safely exit the system right away. And Pelton turbines are unique in that they are 95% efficient. The initial costs of some of these turbines can also only be as low as $15,000, which can greatly help a lot of developing countries reduce that $45 billion to $58 billion that they spend on rebuilding power infrastructure on an annual basis. Pelton turbines are also unique in that they are 95% efficient, and this is because of their aerodynamic design that makes for such little drag. The initial startup costs for most of these turbines as well is only as little as $15,000 in some cases.
So that was our product. Me, Arnomo, the CEO of Sponge Hydro, and the rest of the people who work here truly believe that we can make a big impact in the world.